Hey Ethics crew, Dustin here. Hope you're off to a great start in the weekend. Even though the weather outside is not as great as we may hope, and it seems like winter may never end, it does provide some good time for us to do some work on the Ask an Aspiring Expert assignment, as well as I'm working away on your ethical issues debates now. First and foremost, I just wanted to let you know as I'm going through this work, how you post it could really help in terms of the feedback that I can give. If you share it with me in a Google Doc format or Word doc format, it doesn't really work well with Moodle to give that feedback. So for every assignment for the paper portion that you're submitting, if you could submit that in PDF format, that would be great. That way I can give you the best feedback possible. I also do have a little cheat sheet here of just some other news and notes and just some reminders that I came across as I was grading folks' work over the course of the last couple days and then the start to this weekend. First one, make sure you're referring to your APA manual and the resource that I posted in announcements. As I'm going through the work, I'm just seeing there's some missing elements to that regarding, could be the title of a article that you're referring to online. It might be the year of that article or the author's name. I always find the best way to integrate sources is referring to the author and the year and then going into whatever they're saying. So no matter whether you're summarizing or if you're going to be directly quoting, make sure you use that active tense. For example, level 2018 said this, or in level 2018's article, he went on to describe this important idea. The more active you can make your tense and the more present it is, it just comes off as better and formal. I think that leads well into my second feedback point here, first and third person. So when you're going into the synthesis portion, you're going to be referring to yourself in first person. So I think this, or I know that this is important for this, and that's totally acceptable, but we're still going to be using that formal style of language. When you're referring to sources, you're always going to be using third person. So that's where you'll refer to the authors or they if you've already referred to the authors, or he, or just that formalized that wording rather than going into more an opinion state of being. So when you use that first person, you might be sharing an opinion, you might be sharing a perspective, and that's totally fine. But when you're talking about the sources, it's always going to be third person. So that kind of then leads into, as you're sharing this, make sure you are specific and you're being very mindful of the examples or the sources you're given. I wrote out just an example of what this might be like. So in your paper, let's say you're talking about how educators need to reflect and they're maybe integrating some technology. So the example that I wrote down here was, all educators need to be reflective practitioners on how to integrate technology for student success in the 21st century. A pretty big statement there. There's a lot of things within that. So when you maybe get this feedback of be concise or concision or word choice, tell us directly what you're trying to say and be as specific as possible. So rather than using these big ideas of reflective practitioner or 21st century, tell us exactly what that means. And that's what I mean by formalized writing. So rather than that long kind of general phrase, it could be shortened up such as, teachers should reflect on how technology is used in the classroom, and they should be mindful of how and what skills they are teaching students. Then make another sentence of, the students may learn these skills, this one, this one, this one, and this will help them be successful in the 21st century. That way you're giving specific examples and you're telling me exactly what you mean by these overarching terms or ideas. Sometimes these ideas just kind of get a little too broad and we just need to narrow it down when we get to the writing. So again, just that example of technologies, one means, another big word would be like differentiation. So if you have that in your writing or you're including that on your Ask an Aspiring Expert, be sure to tell us specifically what are you doing to differentiate, rather than stay general and broad and saying differentiation is good for all students in the classroom. We know that, but we want you to make sure to narrow it down in your paper and give us specific examples. That's how you'll build a paragraph. The only last thing that I had then, kind of going along with that concision and word choice, would just be that formalized writing and not using cliche type phrases or that non-literal language. For example, if you're using something in your writing that's like, you know that, whatever you're saying that we think that we know, or it's not all it's cracked up to be. Or another example might be like, the author sheds light on the topic. That's not formal writing. So rather than saying like the author sheds light, or it's not all it's cracked up to be, or whatever the phrase might be, we need to reword that and make it formal. So instead of like one example, the sheds light, the author says, put in your quote. Or you might say, the author disagrees with the stance of this by saying whatever the stance is. So make sure we stay away from that non-literal language, or kind of that informal sort of buddy-to-buddy talking, because whenever you're sharing this, you're going to be giving the facts, and you're going to be just sharing that with us. Then you go back into that first person and give us your thoughts on it using the word I. So I think this is what it means. I think this is what comes next. I hope that helps with your writing, with your work. Know that for any of these assignments, if you'd like to rework any of that, or if you have questions on feedback, you can email me, you can call me, you can text me, whatever you need to do. But if you are interested in getting some more feedback, or if you're interested in wanting to maybe up your score and you could be dissatisfied with that, just get in contact with me, or take a look at the feedback, make some changes, and then resubmit it as a PDF. If you do choose to resubmit it, I'm willing to regrade that. You'll just need to contact me and let me know that you are intending to resubmit it and looking to earn some points back given the feedback that was provided. So I hope you find that helpful. I hope the Ask an Aspiring Expert's going well for you. Looking forward to the next week of work here, and hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. Thanks. Bye.